good debt myth. The rich use the buy, borrow, die method. What is that? How can you use it? And I'm going to be ranting a little bit about some of the lies that we heard. I'm going to kick this off with people tell you, oh, don't waste your money on jewelry and watches and don't be stunting for other people. Look, buy what you want to buy, but do it smartly. Right? Do it smartly. You can stunt, you could do things like that, but buy things that are going to be an asset. I like to use a very simple definition of asset versus liabilities and share this out. An asset is
Red light camera reported ahead.
anything that's going to put money in your pocket. If it's going up in value, if you're able to sell it at a profit, anything that detracts from you, something that you cannot sell at a profit, something you cannot rent out to other people at a profit, and all it does is take from your bottom line, you now have a liability. And I want to talk about my story because I'm still pissed at myself. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I can't get over this. So back in like 2016, 2017, Rolex released the Hulk. It's an all green stainless steel Submariner. At the time, I was actually working in the watch industry selling this exact watch. It was $9,050. I could have used a zero interest credit card to buy this watch at $9,000.
Red light camera reported ahead.
But at that time, I was listening to Dave Ramsey. I was doing the right thing, you know, don't buy shiny objects and all this type of stuff. Nah, I'm not going to buy this watch. I'm not going to buy it. That's financially irresponsible. It's just me trying to flex, blah, 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 all that bullshit. This $9,050 watch that would have been a flex, that would have been technically out of my budget because, you know, I was making like $65,000 a year. Well, guess what? The pandemic hit. What happened during the pandemic? Literally every luxury item on the market skyrocketed. The Hulk, aka the Green Submariner, went from $9,050 to $25,000. $25,000. That's literally a 2.5x increase in price within like 10 years. What else is appreciating like that? Would you consider that an asset or a liability? You buy something for $9,000 a couple of years later, even if it's a decade later, it's worth $25,000. Right? What's going on, y'all? Thanks for tapping in. Share this out to other people. Today, that $9,050 watch is still worth $18,000. I regret not buying that watch. I regret listening to everyone that said, oh, don't buy those things. They don't appreciate in value. Listen. Chanel purses, okay, since the pandemic have gone up around 70%. So if you have a Chanel purse, your purse has probably gone up 70%. Was that a good investment? You made 70% return on your purchase. Is that a good investment? I would say yes. Also, guess what? There are websites now dedicated to renting out luxury items. So not only could I have bought my Rolex Submariner for $9,000, it would have appreciated to $25,000. I could have also put it on a website to allow other people to rent it from me. So now one-time purchase with the right strategy is making me passive income. Is that a liability? By definition, hell no. Hell nah, it's not a liability. Not at all. If you have a Chanel purse, it went up 70%. The same thing we say about homes, you can apply this same concept to literally anything of luxurious value. Usually luxury goods do not go down in value. They go up in value because the price of luxury goods increase every single year. And they also solve the number, so meet one of the first rules of making more money. You sell to the rich because they pay better. I got that from Alex Almozi. I did not make that up. Chanel purses you can put on a website. You can resell your Chanel purse at the going market rate, make some money, or you can even rent it out to other people. There are people that are literally going online and renting Louis Vuitton purses. They're renting Chanel purses. But everyone else is going to tell you, your conservative CPA, your conservative financial coach is going to tell you, oh, don't do that. That's a waste of money. Oh, you're wasting. No, if you have the strategy to turn your quote unquote liability into an asset, do it. If you know, all you have to do is know the strategy. There's probably some things in your house right now that you could resell. I had, I have a Tiffany bracelet. I didn't need the box no more. I literally sold the box. I put it on eBay and I sold it. Somebody actually bought it. I'm like, I don't think anybody's gonna buy an empty Tiffany box. Go on eBay right now. They're selling Tiffany boxes. They're selling them, just the box by itself. And I sold mine. I think someone paid like $80 just for the box. It's just about being creative. This is how you can start turning quote unquote bad debt into quote unquote good debt. This is how you can flip conventional knowledge on its head. This is how you may see somebody driving a Ferrari or something. You're like, how the hell are they even able to afford this car if they're not a millionaire? They're renting the car out. Maybe other people are using the car for photo shoots and for video shoots and commercials. This is how you turn a supposed or alleged liability into an asset, right? Ferraris also continue to go up in value if it's collectible. Now let's talk. So that's my rant about when people are complaining and saying, oh, don't buy shiny things, don't buy cars and jewelry, it's a waste of money. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If it's going up in value, if I can rent it out to someone else, it's not a loss. Of course, if you're going to rent it out, get the thing insured, because of course people will steal from you, they'll take from you, so make sure you get it insured properly, right? Obviously. Hold on, I think I'm lost. I think I missed a turn. Let me see. Hold up, y'all, real quick. Sorry. All right. But that's one way you can turn good debt into bad debt. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, that's one way you can turn good debt into bad debt. But another way, I meant to say, this is how you can turn bad debt into good debt. Right? Well, let's talk about it. The buy, borrow, die method. You hear rich people, like you hear Robert Kiyosaki, a lot of real estate people say this, right? Oh, I have so much debt. I have so much debt. Debt is good. Get as much debt as possible. That's only part of the equation. And I'm saying this because as I go through my own journey, listening to different books, reading different books, financial gurus, they don't give you the full picture. When they're saying, yes, I have a shit ton of debt, it's because their assets are worth more than the debt. They still have a positive net worth, right? because I was doing some things wrong. I was like, oh, get as much debt as possible. So I'm taking on debt, buying.
In 1 mile, turn right.
Buying different softwares that I didn't need, buying, like, wasting money on elaborate websites and all this back-end product and logo design and shit. Like, I ain't need none of that shit for real. I would buy it, didn't even know how to use it. So I'm wasting money on this stuff, and this stuff which is told and sold as an asset. Oh, you need to work on your branding, your logo, your website, your funnel, blah blah blah. Okay, you spend $10,000-$20,000 on this stuff and you don't make no more money. Is that an asset or a liability? By definition, is it an asset or liability? Well, if it's not making me more money, if it's not increasing my net worth, if it's not directly improving the quality and the value, the enterprise value of the brand itself directly, it's a liability, right? It's a liability. So I had debt, and I still wasn't using it properly because I was buying shit that wasn't making me more money. The rich people, especially when you listen to Grant Cardone, Robert Kiyosaki, and they tell you to bring on more debt, they're skipping a part. They're leaving a very important part out when they're telling us this. Again, I fell into this. I'm just kind of venting right now. The part that they're skipping is, hey, use this debt to go buy something that is going to be worth more than the debt you're using. That's the part that they're skipping over. Just like, if going back, I wish I would have bought that Rolex. It was worth $9,000. I absolutely should have put that Rolex on a zero interest credit card, paid off the zero interest credit card over time, and I would have had my Rolex. Why? I know this is not financial advice at all. Because that $9,000 Rolex in today's time is worth $18,000. It's $18,000. On the high end, I could resell it for $25,000 cash. I would have 2.5x my money. Is that an asset or liability by definition? By definition.
In about 0.1, turn right.
By definition, it is an asset. By definition. Right? Is this where I need to go?
Turn right.
So when we're listening to Robert and them,
Let's get started. Drive safe. In about 0.1, exit right.
when listening to Robert and them, they skip that. They say, oh, I got so much debt. Oh yeah, use debt. They're using debt to buy real estate, which we know
exit right
is going to appreciate over time.
In about 0.1, exit right.
So yes, they probably have, $10 billion worth of debt, but that's because their assets that they use the debt for is worth $20 billion.
Exit right.
You see what I'm saying? They skipping the part.
In about 0.1, exit.
It's not just use debt. It's use debt to buy assets that are going to be worth more than the debt that you use.
Exit right.
This is the part.
In a quarter of a mile, turn right.
That they keep skipping over. This is the part that they keep skipping over.
In about 0.1, turn right.
This is how they're able to utilize the borrow and die method. They're able to do it because they spent $10 billion, or they're in $10 billion
turn right.
Worth of debt. Their assets are worth $20 billion. Now they have a $20 billion asset that they can now borrow against, aka leverage. So they borrowed 10 billion. They got access to 20 billion. Now they can borrow against the 20 billion. When they're borrowing against that 20 billion, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go find more assets that are going to be worth 40 billion or 100 billion. And that is the game that they play. That is the cycle that they're in. That's the key component that we miss out. They tell us to get in debt to go to school. There's no guarantee that that school loan is going to turn into an asset. Yes, we are our greatest asset. No one can ever steal your... Exactly. Yep. Same exact thing you're doing with crypto. You can do it with anything of value. You could do it with crypto. You can do this with real estate. You could do this with businesses. People buy businesses, improve the value of that business, and sell the business, right? You can do this with your stock portfolio. You can definitely borrow, take money off of a credit card, put it into $10,000 worth of stock. That $10,000 worth of stock turns into $30,000. Now you can borrow against that $30,000 worth of stock to either buy more stock, to pay off that $10,000 credit card, whatever you want to do. This is the part that the rich skip. They purposely leave this part out. The difference between good debt and bad debt. Good debt will make you more money because it allows you to buy assets that are worth more than the money you borrowed. That is how you turn any kind of debt into good debt. You take the money and you buy something that's going to be worth more than the money that you borrowed. So if you even, I'll keep it on a small scale. Let's say you want to start doing e-com, or maybe you just want to start buying stuff from a yard sale. Like I remember Gary Vee was showing people how to do this, but looking up stuff on eBay, seeing what it sells for, and then going to a yard sale and buying it. Maybe you borrow $100 from your friends. You go to yard sales, you grab a bunch of stuff that you researched online, and you resell it on eBay, and you make $150. Is that good debt or bad debt? You turned $100 into $150. You keep the 50, you pay your friend back. Or you say, hey, I'm gonna pay you back, but can I borrow it again? And you repeat the cycle. That's on a small scale. On the big scale, you level up, or we level up to the level of a Grant Cardone on a micro scale, whatever scale you're comfortable with. This is how they're able to buy, borrow, and die. They buy something. That's the cycle, right? And the key to, if you have no money in the beginning, this is where credit comes in. Credit is important because now you can get debt, you can use another person's money, that asset. You can get a $10,000 credit card to go buy a $40,000 house. Then you may borrow money from the bank because you got good credit. They're going to give you a loan, right? You borrow another $50,000. Let's say you're in the South, so this makes sense. You use a $10,000 credit card to buy a $40,000 house because you only got to put down a down payment. You borrow money. You borrow like $50,000 from the bank. You fix up the house. You sell the house for $200,000. You sold the house for 200 grand. You pay off all the other debt. You're left with the profit. Now, what if you buy a house and shit happens? You're not able to resell it. You're not able to add value. Maybe it turns into a black hole and you're losing money. You're bleeding money in this project. Now it just turns into a liability. It happens. Not every deal is going to be a great deal. But guess what? It's still a house. You can still sell it to someone else. And maybe you just break even. It's still a house. You're still able to sell it. And maybe you just break even. But guess what? You broke even. You didn't lose any money. This is how they leverage it. This is how they use that debt and turn bad debt into good debt.
In about half a keep right.
This is just my rant. This is something because I was just listening to a podcast about it, and they're like, oh, bad debt versus good debt, bad debt versus good debt. If the debt is going to put money in your pocket, if the debt is going to allow you to buy something that's of greater value than the debt you're taking on, it's a good deal. But before you jump out there, run the numbers. This is a step a lot of us skip over. Like I skipped over it myself from my own personal experience. I had the money, you know, I got all my funding and everything. Oh yeah, I'm going to buy the website, the brand, the all the stuff that the internet marketers say to buy. Cool. I didn't know.
In about 0.1 keep right.
But I didn't know what my return on my investment was going to be. I had no idea how to actually figure out how improving my brand or buying this AI software
keep right.
or building a website was going to directly benefit my pocket. I had no idea. I just fed into the hype. I like, oh, I need a website. Great. Oh, let me get that. Oh, I need the AI. Let me get that. Oh, let me get this and that. So now I'm paying all these different fees and stuff.
In about half a turn left.
For some shit that wasn't adding no value. I'm like, damn, I just wasted all this damn money. It felt like a waste because you still got a learning curve. In the long term, this stuff, it will pay off. It will help. But in the short term, it's like, damn, I just lost all this money. Until it starts making me some money. I'm like, geez, come on, man. What's going on? This is just my little rant, right? But once you build, even with building a business, once you're able to build enterprise value in that business, you can position yourself to where you can sell it, right? That's what, you know, we hear all the time in Silicon Valley. Alex Hormozi talks about it. But on a very
in about
small level,
0.1 turn left and then turn right.
On a small level, on a simple level, use your debt to buy something that will grow in value beyond the cost of the debt that you use.
Turn left
acquire it.
and then turn right.
Very easy. That's it. That's all we got to do when we start thinking about when we borrow money. The worst thing we could do is borrow money just to pay a bill. That's not where it's at. If you need to just pay a bill, we have to increase fire trucking business. Yep, trucking business is amazing, Leonard, for real. I mean, Leonardo, sorry. I know a lot of people with trucking businesses that are killing it. Dump trucks, delivery. Some do non-emergency medical transportation. But that's what we're doing. Once we're in a state where we're borrowing money just to pay a bill, we're not in a good position. If you need to borrow
in about
money
0.1 turn right
just to pay a bill, that's not the time to borrow money. That's the time to figure out how you can make more money. Either get more clients,
turn
do
right,
more advertising, partner with some people, get some referrals, right? If you just need to cover your bills,
in about half a turn right,
it's time to get more clients, get more customers, get a pay increase, get a new certification, expand your market, whatever. But we don't want to borrow money just to cover a bill. We do not want to do that. We want to borrow money so we can make some more money. You want to borrow money so that you can buy, you know, you got a trucking business, so that you can buy a trailer. That trailer may cost you $12,000. But you know for a fact, because you already done the math, you're not hoping, you're not wishing.
in about 0.1 turn right,
contracts and your customers line up waiting for you to get the trailer. that $12,000 that you're going to borrow to buy that trailer is going to make you additional $6,000 a month. So now in 2 months,
Turn
that trailer
right.
is paid off in full. After that, it's just additional cash flow coming into the business. That's how we want to look at the debt that we take on.
Turn left.
That's how you turn it into good debt. That's how you can say, oh yeah, this is good debt if I get a $20,000 zero interest business.
You have reached your destination.
$20,000 zero interest credit card to invest into my business. Yeah, I know everything about how to get a zero interest business credit card. Leonardo, if you click the link in my bio, click the link in the channel description or any of the descriptions of any of my videos. There is a link to schedule a call that we can go over this, and so that you can get a free business scan so we can see where you are and where your business is, so that you can go ahead and we'll let you know what type of funding you qualify for. That includes zero interest business credit cards, right? But listen, y'all, I just made it to my destination. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Leonardo, tap in with us so that we can get you that zero interest business funding that you're looking for, so you can buy those trailers and add that additional revenue to your business. Look, almost anything can turn into an asset for you, your business, and your life if you know the right strategy. Do your research. Don't always chase the shiny objects. Learn about how to buy, borrow, and pass it on to your kin so that you can always stay ahead of the game, and let's have a focus shift. Generational wealth is tossed around all the time, but it first starts off with ensuring that you have a positive net worth, right? And we know that your network can help grow your net worth. Tap in. I'll see y'all on the other side. All the links to get in contact with me, to set appointment, etc., are in the channel description. I'll see you guys later. Everyone have a great Sunday.